Here are 10 things you should avoid doing while Mercury is retrograde. Hello, dear astrology lovers from all over the world, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alexandra, and I'm a professional ISAR certified astrologer. In today's video, I'll be sharing the top 10 things you shouldn't do during Mercury retrograde. Make yourselves comfortable, and let's dive in. Number one, making important decisions. Mercury is the planet of intellect and logic. When it's in retrograde motion, the way we perceive things may not be 100% clear or realistic. Why does this happen, and why do planets appear to be retrograde in the first place? Retrograde motion is actually an optical illusion. When Mercury aligns with the Earth while both planets are orbiting the Sun, it appears, when observed from Earth, as if Mercury is moving backward even though it isn't. The same thing appears with Earth. If you were observing from Mercury, Earth would appear to be retrograde as well. You might have experienced a similar effect while driving. When two cars are moving in the same direction in parallel lanes and briefly align, it can look as if the other car's wheels are moving backward, even though they're not. So retrograde motion brings an energy of illusion, which is directly connected to Neptune and Pisces. And Pisces is the sign of Mercury's fall. It's where intuition becomes stronger, while logic, ruled by Mercury, tends to diminish. And because of this, during Mercury retrograde, we're encouraged to turn inward, to introspection, self-reflection, and listening to our inner voice, rather than being overly analytical or rational, trying to solve everything, make big moves, or take important decisions. This is a time to slow down and reflect, so you can meditate, journal your thoughts, and if possible, postpone major decisions until Mercury turns direct and the shadow period is over. Number two, buying electronic devices. In general, all types of these small practical objects we use daily fall under the umbrella of Mercury, even though they're also very Uranian because they're electronic. Anyway, no matter what kind of gadget we're talking about, whether it's a phone, a laptop, a washing machine, a pair of headphones, a vacuum cleaner, a smartwatch, you name it, Mercury retrograde is definitely not the best time to buy them. Why? Because there could be a hidden defect that even the seller might not be aware of. Remember, this is Pisces energy at work, so the device might look like a perfect choice at first, but later you may change your mind and realize it doesn't actually meet your expectations or needs. It could even stop working or turn out to be poor quality. Number three, signing contracts. Contracts, documents, and signatures are all ruled by Mercury, so its retrograde transit is definitely not the best time to make big or important agreements. For example, if you've just accepted a new job offer and need to sign a contract, try to do it after Mercury has turned direct and ideally after it has passed the shadow period, which means it has gone beyond the degree where its retrograde transit started. If you can't postpone, make sure to read the contract carefully. Read it multiple times even, so you don't miss any important details because you might regret it later. Generally, contracts signed during Mercury retrograde tend to undergo updates or changes afterward, meaning you may need to revisit and re-sign them. This is very symbolic of retrograde motion itself. And sometimes these agreements can even fall through for various reasons. So during Mercury retrograde, patience and extra caution are your best allies when dealing with any kind of official documents and agreements. Number four, moving into a new home. Moving is ruled by Mercury and the sign of Gemini, and it's usually a big step that marks the beginning of a new chapter. If you move while Mercury is retrograde, there's a high chance you might end up moving out and relocating again, and this can happen for various reasons, such as changing circumstances, second thoughts, and so on. It's important to know that astrologically and energetically speaking, you only officially move in when you enter your new home with the intention to stay and spend the night there. Simply taking the keys, bringing in the furniture, finishing works, or doing similar tasks doesn't count as moving in. You truly move in the moment you enter your new home and stay to sleep there. So make sure this doesn't happen during Mercury retrograde. It's also important to pay attention to the moon's aspects here because the moon represents home. Number 5, selling or buying property. All types of purchases, transactions, and commerce are ruled by Mercury. Buying or selling property is a huge step. It usually involves a significant amount of money, which means it's not something you should do without being extremely cautious. These types of transactions also involve documentation and contracts, which are very Mercurian. And additionally, it's a major decision, which is another Mercury influence. With all this in mind, buying or selling property while Mercury is retrograde can lead to problems with documents, either immediately or later, as well as delays or misunderstandings. Once everything is done, you might realize it wasn't the best decision. And if you sold your property, you might simply regret it. And if you bought a new place, you might not like it, or it could have issues you weren't aware of at the time of purchase. This is definitely not something to rush into, especially during Mercury retrograde. Postponing such transactions is highly recommended here. Number 6, buying a new vehicle. Traffic, movement, and vehicles are all represented by Mercury. If you're buying a new car, it's best to do so when Mercury is well positioned and in good aspects. If Mercury is retrograde, the car might seem like a great choice or a good deal, but it could have hidden defects like issues, and especially if it's used. The seller might not be entirely honest, perhaps trying to get rid of a car that caused them headaches, and over the following months, you might end up regretting the purchase. Even if that's not the case, the car or any other vehicle could turn out to be unsuitable for you for various reasons. Remember, Mercury retrograde is very similar to Mercury in Pisces. It can idealize things or make it easy to overlook important details, which may later lead to disappointment or frustration. Number 7, getting married. You might be surprised to see this one on the list since marriage is ruled by Venus. However, it also includes a paper and the signature, which are ruled by Mercury. Basically, you're signing a contract. So, making such an important step while Mercury is retrograde is not something I would recommend. And the same applies to Venus retrograde. So, do not propose, get married, or engaged with either Mercury or Venus retrograde. You or your person might change your mind, certain difficulties can appear, and overall, the final outcome might not be as planned. Weddings, engagements, and proposals are beautiful, so it's always good to make sure they take place when aspects are good and beneficial. Number 8, making promises. Do not make big promises during Mercury retrograde because you could later end up asking yourself, what was I thinking? When Mercury turns direct and you reflect on the situation, you might change your mind and find yourself in an uncomfortable position. You might not want to stick to the promise, yet feel embarrassed or sorry for potentially disappointing the person you made it to. So it's wise to step back and think twice before making any commitments during this time. Number 9, booking trips. Mercury represents short trips and tickets, and when it's retrograde, there are usually delays, flight cancellations, and traffic jams with or without a reason. Overall, movement can become a bit of a challenge, and of course, this doesn't mean that the world should stop just because Mercury is retrograde. However, travel does require extra caution and planning. If your trip is not urgent, it's a good idea to postpone it, but if you really have to travel, plan everything carefully and pay attention to even the smallest details. Try to prevent unpredictable circumstances from slowing you down, for example, by arriving at the airport earlier than usual so you have enough time to check in and get to your gate, even if some obstacles appear. If you're booking accommodation online, read the description carefully so you don't get unpleasantly surprised when you reach your destination. Also, make sure your documents, your travel documents are valid, and most importantly, do not forget to take them with you. During Mercury retrograde, extra preparation and attention to detail can save you a lot of stress while traveling. And finally, number 10, starting an important new chapter. Whichever chapter you're planning to start, do you really want to begin it where Mercury is retrograde? New beginnings should happen in positive energy that drives you forward, not backward. If your new chapter is something you truly care about, it's definitely worth waiting until this transit passes. And this brings us to the end of this video. I hope you found it interesting and inspiring. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. So let me know in the comments below which part of the video you found most useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.